Welcome to Fluent English with Radio, where you can improve your English while learning ideas that help you grow. In today's video, we're talking about strategic thinking. So what if I told you something? The difference between people who feel stuck and people who move forward isn't talent or luck. It's not even hard work. It's something simpler. It's how they think. People who move forward think strategically. Strategic thinking sounds complicated, right? It sounds like something only CEOs or business leaders do. But that's not true. It is simply this: thinking with a clear goal, a plan, and a future view. In this episode, let's take a deep dive into what strategic thinking really is, why it matters, and 12 simple principles you can start using right now. Because you don't need to be smarter. You just need to think differently. Let's get started. 1. What is strategic thinking? So, what is strategic thinking, really? Here's what it's not. It's not about making things complicated. It's not about overthinking every small choice. Strategic thinking is actually quite simple. It means thinking with a clear goal, a plan, and a future view. Most people, when they face a problem, ask one question: what should I do now? That's not a bad question. But strategic thinkers ask something different. They ask, will this action help me reach my goal? See the difference? One question focuses on right now. The other connects what you do today with what you want in the future. Imagine you're driving somewhere new. You could just start driving and hope you get there. Or you could look at a map first. Strategic thinking is looking at the map. It's knowing where you want to go before you start moving. A strategic thinker takes 5 minutes to think first. They define the goal clearly. Then they work backwards to find the best path. That's the core idea. Strategic thinking connects your actions today with your goals for tomorrow without being influenced by emotions or feelings. 2. The differences between reactive thinkers and strategic thinkers. Those who are influenced by emotions or feelings are reactive thinkers. This kind of person acts because of pressure or emotion. Something urgent comes up, and they jump on it right away. They think only about the short term. I need to fix this problem right now. They don't think about whether fixing this problem creates another one later. They work harder, not smarter. Here's what this looks like in real life. Imagine Judy. Her boss asks for a report by the end of the day. Judy panics and drops everything. She works through lunch. She skips her Carter's school event to finish the report. She sends it. Done, right? But here's what she didn't know. The boss might not actually need it until next week. He was just asking if it was possible. Judy reacted to pressure without asking questions or thinking strategically. Now, what kind of thinker should we become? It's a strategic thinker. This person acts with a clear purpose. They know what they're working toward, so they can decide if an action fits that purpose. They think several steps ahead. They don't just see the problem right now. They see the pattern. They see what's coming next. They work smarter by focusing on what matters most. They say no to things that don't serve their goals, even if those things feel urgent. Let's go back to the same situation. But this time, it's Mina. Same job, same request from the boss. Mina sees the email, but before she reacts, she thinks for 10 seconds. What's the real priority here? What do I want to achieve? She replies, I can have it ready by the end of the day if it's urgent, but if you need it next week, I can make it more thorough. The boss writes back, "Next week is fine. Take your time." Mina just saved herself 4 hours of stress. She doesn't skip her evening plans, and she'll deliver better work. That's strategic thinking. It's not about being slow. It's about being smart with your decisions. The reactive person feels busy but gets nowhere. The strategic person feels in control and makes progress. Let's be honest. Which one do you want to be? 3. The core of strategic thinking. So, now that you have a clearer picture of what strategic thinkers are, you might be asking, what are their superpowers? Well, here are the 5 core patterns you'll find in people who think strategically. First, they look ahead. They don't just plan one step at a time, but multiple steps. They think, if I do this today, what happens tomorrow? What happens next week? It's like chess. A beginner sees one move. A strong player sees 5 moves ahead. Second, they understand deeply. They don't see problems alone, but how parts are connected in a system. For example, they know that customer complaints aren't just about customer service. They might be about product design or pricing or unclear marketing. They look for root causes, the real source of the problem, not just surface symptoms. Third, they decide carefully. They don't rush. They think before acting. They stay calm, even when others panic. This doesn't mean they're slow. It means they're intentional. They take 2 minutes to think, so they don't waste 2 hours fixing a mistake. Fourth, they stay flexible. Here's something important. Strategic thinkers don't give up on their goals, but they change the way they reach those goals when needed. If Plan A doesn't work, they try Plan B. They adapt and adjust, but they keep the destination the same. Fifth, they focus on what matters most. They do less but get more results. They know that not everything is important, so they focus on the 20% of actions that create 80% of results. They're not trying to do everything. They're trying to do the right things. 4. Why is strategic thinking important? As you can see, there are no superpowers involved. Strategic thinking isn't a special talent you're born with. It's a powerful skill you intentionally build, and that skill can completely change your life, especially in today's world where everything is changing so fast. Technology changes, markets shift, jobs change. What worked 5 years ago doesn't work now. In this kind of world, people who can think clearly will do much better. When you think ahead, you avoid problems before they happen. You don't waste time, money, or energy on paths that lead nowhere. Moreover, strategic thinkers imagine different scenarios, different ways things could turn out. If I do this, what could go wrong? You prepare for problems, so when they come, you're ready. You also find chances that others miss. When everyone is reacting to the same news, the same trends, strategic thinkers are looking 2 steps ahead. In other words, you move before the crowd does. Thinking strategically also helps you stay calm and confident in difficult times. Life will test you. You'll face setbacks, failures, and unexpected changes. Strategic thinking gives you a framework so you can stay grounded when everything feels chaotic. Finally, strategic thinking helps you build long-term success in work and life. You're not just chasing today's urgent tasks, but building toward a future you've designed. The most successful people don't count on only luck and hard work. They think differently. They see what others don't see. They plan while others react. And here's the good news. You can do this too. Strategic thinking isn't for only CEOs or people with fancy degrees. It's for anyone who wants to take control of their life. Anyone who's tired of feeling stuck or who wants to move forward with clarity and confidence. 12 core principles for strategic thinking. I'm going to give you 12 practical principles that can help you build this skill. You don't need to master all 12 at once. Start with one, practice it, then add another. Think of these principles as building blocks. Each one makes you a little bit stronger. Together they change how you think and make decisions. Ready? Let's dive into the 12 principles of strategic thinking. Principle 1. The strategic pause. Here's the first principle, and it's incredibly simple, but it will change everything. Before you react to anything, pause for 2 to 3 seconds. That's it. Just pause. In those few seconds, ask yourself 2 questions. What do I want to achieve here? And what could happen if I do this? That's the strategic pause. It's the space between what happens and how you respond. And in that space, you take back control. Let me show you how powerful this is. Imagine you're in a meeting. Someone criticizes your idea in front of everyone. Your first instinct? Defend yourself. Get angry. Shut them down. But what if you pause, count to 3 in your head, then think, I want to be seen as professional and open to feedback. Now you can respond differently. That's interesting. Can you tell me more about your concern? See what happened? You didn't react. You responded. And you stayed in control. Here's how to practice this. Start small. The next time you get a critical email or text, don't reply right away. Wait 10 minutes. Think about what you actually want to achieve. The strategic pause is your first line of defense against bad decisions. Use it everywhere. Principle 2. Clarity and reverse engineering. Now that you can pause and think clearly, the next step is knowing exactly what you're working toward. Most people set goals like this. I want to be successful. I want to be healthier. I want my business to grow. That's not a goal. That's a wish. Strategic thinkers get specific. Very specific. Then they do something smart. They work backwards. Let me show you exactly how this works. Let's say your goal is to increase sales by 20% in 6 months. Don't start by asking, what should I do first? Start by asking, to reach 20% in 6 months, what do I need at 3 months? Maybe you need 10% growth in 3 months. Okay, to get 10% in 3 months, how many new customers do I need each month? Maybe you need 100 new customers per month. Good. To get 100 new customers, how many people do I need to reach? See what just happened? You went from a big, vague goal to a specific action plan. That's reverse engineering, working backwards from your goal. Here's the formula. Write down your desired outcome. Be extremely specific. Include numbers and deadlines. Then ask, to achieve this, what result do I need right before it? Keep asking that question until you reach today. The final question is always, what's the smallest thing I can do today to start? When you reverse engineer like this, you don't feel overwhelmed. You know exactly what to do next. Principle 3. Right information, right time. Once you have clarity on your goal and your plan, you need information to make good decisions. Let me tell you about 2 kinds of people. The first researches everything forever. They want 100% certainty before they act. The second acts on impulse, sudden desire. They don't research enough. They just jump in and hope. Strategic thinkers are neither. They gather the right information at the right time. No more, no less. Here's the key insight. The goal isn't to know everything. The goal is to know enough to make a good decision. There are two traps to avoid. Under-research is when you don't have enough information. Over-research is when you have so much information that you can't decide. Here's how to find the balance. Before you start researching, ask this question. What specific information would change my decision? Then set a limit. I'll spend 2 days researching this, or I'll talk to 5 experts, not 20. Learn to recognize when information starts repeating. That's your signal to stop researching and start acting. Think about planning a family vacation. You could spend 3 months researching every hotel, every restaurant, every activity. Or you could spend 3 days reading reviews of the top 5 hotels, picking one that fits your budget and needs, and booking it. Then enjoy planning the fun details. The second approach gets you answers faster, and those answers are good enough. You don't need the perfect hotel. You need a good hotel that your family will enjoy. Here's your action step. Next time you need to make a decision, write down this question. What are the 3 pieces of information I absolutely need? Then go get those 3 things, not 30 things. 3. Then decide. Right information, right time. That's strategic research. Principle 4. Systems thinking. Now let's talk about how to see the bigger picture and understand how things connect. Here's a mistake most people make. They see problems as separate events. Sales are down. The team is tired. Customers are complaining. Strategic thinkers see differently. They see systems. They see connections. They ask, how is everything connected? Let me explain with a family example. Imagine mornings are always chaotic in your house. Everyone's rushing. People are stressed. Someone always forgets something. A reactive response? Wake up 10 minutes earlier and rush even faster. A strategic response? Ask this question. Why are mornings chaotic? Maybe it's because everyone picks out clothes in the morning. Maybe lunches aren't prepared the night before. Maybe the kids' backpacks aren't organized. If you fix the root cause, the real source of the problem, mornings become smooth. You didn't just add more time, you fixed the system. This is systems thinking. It's understanding that when you change one part, other parts change too. Here's how to practice this. When you face a problem, ask, what's the root cause? Keep asking why until you find the real source. Let's use an athlete as an example. Maria is a runner. She keeps getting injured. She could just rest more between runs. That treats the symptom. Or she could ask, why do I keep getting injured? Maybe her running shoes are old, or maybe she's not warming up properly, or maybe she's increasing her distance too fast each week. When she discovers the root cause, she's been increasing distance by 30% each week instead of the recommended 10%. She can fix the real problem. Look for the key point. Look for the place where a small change creates big effects. That's where strategic thinkers focus. Principle 5. Second-order thinking and scenarios. With systems thinking, you see how things connect. Now let's take it further and think about what happens next. Most people think one step ahead. If I do this, this will happen. That's first-order thinking. Strategic thinkers go further. They think 2, 3, even 4 steps ahead. They ask, and then what? And after that? This is called second-order thinking. It's thinking about the results of the results. Let me show you why this matters with a student example. Imagine you're offered a chance to be president of 3 different student clubs. First-order thinking says this: this will look great on my college applications. I should do all 3. Second-order thinking says this will look good on applications, but it also means 15 hours per week, which means less time for studying, which could lower my grades, which could hurt my applications more than the club's help. See the difference? Second-order thinking shows hidden costs. Here's how to practice this. Before any big decision, write down 3 scenarios, 3 different ways things could turn out. The best-case scenario is that everything goes right. What does that look like? The worst-case scenario is that everything goes wrong. What does that look like? How would you handle it? The most likely scenario, what will probably happen? This is usually between the 2 extremes. When you plan for scenarios, you're not surprised. You're prepared. Here's another example. You're planning a trip to another city for the first time. The best case is that the weather is perfect, all the attractions are open, and you have an amazing time. The worst case is that it rains the whole time, your accommodation has problems, and you get sick. The most likely is that some days are nice, some attractions are closed, but overall, you have a good experience with a few small problems. Now ask these questions. Can I handle the worst case? Do I have backup plans for rainy days? Do I have travel insurance? That's strategic thinking. You're not just hoping for the best. You're preparing for reality. Principle 6. Timing and the 70% rule. You've learned to think ahead and plan scenarios. But here's an important question. When should you actually make the decision? Here's something that stops a lot of smart people. They wait for perfect information. They wait for 100% certainty, complete confidence. But here's the truth. That moment never comes. While you wait, the opportunity passes. Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, has a rule. He calls it the 70% rule. When you have about 70% of the information you need, make the decision. Why 70%? Because getting to 100% takes too long. And the last 30% of information often doesn't change your decision anyway. Strategic thinkers are comfortable with incomplete information. They make good enough decisions quickly, then adjust as they learn more. Think about choosing a college major. You could research every possible career path for 2 years. Or you could spend 3 months exploring your top 3 interests, talking to people in those fields, and making a choice. If, after 1 year, you realize it's not right for you, you can change majors. Many successful people change majors or even careers. The key is starting and learning as you go, not waiting forever for perfect certainty. Here's your guideline. Ask yourself this question. Do I know enough to make a good decision? Not a perfect decision, but a good decision. If the answer is yes, decide. Then commit to learning and adjusting as you go. That's faster and often more effective than waiting for perfection. One important note. This applies to decisions you can reverse, decisions you can undo or change. If you can adjust the decision later, use the 70% rule. For decisions you can't reverse, like marriage, major investments, or moving to another country, take more time. Some decisions deserve 90% certainty, but most decisions, 70% is enough. Decide, act, learn, adjust. That's the strategic cycle. Principle 7. Focus and the 80-20 rule. Now that you know when to decide, let's talk about what to focus on, because not all actions are equal. Here's a principle that will save you enormous amounts of time and energy. Not all actions are equal. Some actions create huge results. Most actions create very little. This is called the 80-20 rule. Roughly 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. Strategic thinkers identify that crucial 20%. Then they focus almost all their attention there. Let me give you real examples. Think about a parent managing a household. They might do 20 different tasks each day: cooking, cleaning, laundry, helping with homework, paying bills, shopping, and more. But if they ask which tasks create the most value for my family, they might find that 3 things matter most: spending quality time with kids, ensuring healthy meals, and maintaining a calm, clean space. Those 3 tasks, maybe 20% of all the tasks, create 80% of the family's happiness and well-being. Here's how to find your 20%. List all your regular activities, work tasks, personal projects, everything. Then ask each one this question: if I only did this one thing, would it create significant progress toward my goal? The activities where the answer is yes, that's your 20%. Those are your high-impact points. Now here's the hard part. You need to do less of everything else. Get help with it, simplify it, or stop doing it. I know that sounds extreme, but strategic thinking is about making hard choices. You can't do everything well, so focus on what matters most. Think of an athlete training for a marathon. They could do 10 different types of exercise: running, swimming, cycling, weightlifting, yoga, basketball, dancing, and more. But if their goal is a marathon, maybe 80% of their training should focus on 3 things: long runs, speed work, and recovery. The other exercises might be fun, but they're not moving them toward their main goal. Your action step is this: identify the 3 activities in your life that create the most value. This week, spend 80% of your time on those 3 things. Watch what happens. You'll feel more productive, less stressed, and you'll see faster progress. That's the power of focus. Principle 8. Execution and prioritization. You've identified what matters most. Now let's talk about turning your strategy into action. Here's where most people fail. They have great ideas. They make plans. Then nothing happens. Why? Because they don't break strategy into action. They keep everything big and vague. Strategic thinkers are different. They turn vision into specific, measurable steps. Here's the framework. Don't plan a whole year. That's too far away and too overwhelming. Instead, work in 90-day cycles, 3 months or a quarter at a time. At the start of each cycle, choose 3 to 5 priorities, the most important things. Not 10, not 20, 3 to 5. These should be the most important things that will move you toward your goal. Let me show you an example. Say your goal is to grow your online business. In quarter 1, or your first 12 weeks, your priority is to test 3 different marketing strategies. So from week 1 to 4, you will test strategy A. Let's say it's to use Instagram ads. You will spend $500 and then measure the results. From week 5 to 8, you will test strategy B. It can be a partnership with influencers. At the end of this phase, you will again measure the results. The final 4 weeks are for testing strategy C. For example, email marketing. Then, as usual, you measure the results. At the end of 90 days, you know which strategy worked best. Then in quarter 2, you focus only on that strategy and scale it up. See how specific that is? You know exactly what to do each week. Here's another tool that helps. Use the Eisenhower matrix to prioritize tasks. It has 4 categories. If it's important and urgent, do it first. If it's important but not urgent, schedule it. If it's urgent but not important, you can delegate it if possible. If it's neither, eliminate it. Most people spend their days on urgent things. Strategic thinkers spend their days on important things. So, here's your action step. Right now, define your next 90 days. Choose 3 main priorities. Write down specific weekly actions for the first month. Don't worry about perfect planning. Just start. You'll adjust as you go. Strategy without action is just dreaming. Action without strategy is just chaos. Combine them. That's power. Principle 9. Stay flexible, or the OODA loop. You've created your plan and started taking action. But here's the reality. Plans always change. Plans are useful, but plans always change. The world doesn't cooperate with your schedule. Strategic thinkers know this, so they build flexibility into everything they do. The best framework for this is called the OODA loop. It was created by a military strategist, but it works for everything. OODA stands for observe, orient, decide, act. Observe means to collect information. What's actually happening? Not what you hoped would happen. What's real? Orient means to put that information in context. What does it mean? How does it connect to your goal? Decide means this. Based on what you now know, what should you do? Act means do it. Then immediately go back to observe. It's a loop. You keep cycling through it. You're constantly learning and adjusting. Let me show you how this works. Rob launches an online course. Week 1, sales are low. That's observe. He looks at the data. The landing page has lots of visitors, but few buy. That's orient. The problem isn't traffic, it's conversion. He decides to add a short video explaining the course benefits. That's decide. He creates the video and updates the page. That's act. Next week he observes again. Sales are up 30%. The video worked, but now he notices a different pattern. People are asking lots of questions before buying, so he orients to that new information. He decides to add an FAQ section. He acts, then observes again. This is how strategic thinkers operate. They don't stick to a plan when reality changes. They adapt quickly. Here's your action step. For your next project, check progress every week. Ask these questions. What's working? What's not? What should I adjust? Don't wait until the end to evaluate. Adjust continuously. That's strategic flexibility. The OODA loop keeps you responsive. You learn faster and waste less time on things that don't work, and you double down on things that do. Principle 10. Influence and EQ. As you adjust and improve your approach, remember that strategy isn't just about plans and data. It's also about people. Strategy isn't just about logic and data. It's about people. And people are emotional, complex, and hard to predict. Strategic thinkers understand human psychology, how people think and feel. They use this knowledge in a good way to communicate better and influence more effectively. Let me give you 3 powerful principles. First is framing. How you present an idea matters as much as the idea itself. Imagine you want your team to adopt a new process. You could say, "We need to change how we do this." That might lead to objection because people don't like change. But you could say, "I found a way we can reach our goal faster with less stress." Same idea, different frame. The later version focuses on benefits, not change, so people are more open to it. Second is reciprocity. When you give something, people feel they should give back. This is natural in humans. Strategic thinkers use this. They help others first, without expecting immediate return. Over time, this builds goodwill and cooperation. Third is social proof. People look to others for cues on how to act. If others are doing it, it must be right. When you propose an idea, mention who else is already on board. For example, Harry and Liam both think this approach makes sense. What do you think? That's more persuasive than presenting the idea alone. Here's the key: emotional intelligence, or EQ. This means understanding emotions, both yours and others. Strategic thinkers develop their EQ. They read emotions, they understand motivations, they choose the right moment to communicate. Your action step is this. Next time you need to persuade someone, first ask these questions. What does this person care about? What are their concerns? Then frame your message around their values, not yours. Make it easy for them to say yes. This isn't manipulation, unfair influence. It's communication done well. Strategy includes people skills. Principle 11. Decision frameworks and bias checks. Understanding people is crucial, but you also need to understand yourself and how your brain can trick you. Our brains are amazing, but they're also flawed. They take mental shortcuts that lead us to bad decisions. These shortcuts are called cognitive biases, thinking errors, and everyone has them. Here are some common ones. The first one is confirmation bias. You only see information that supports what you already believe. You ignore things that prove you wrong. The next one is the sunk cost fallacy. You keep doing something because you already spent time or money on it, even when it's not working. We also have an overconfidence bias. You think you know more than you actually do, so you can't see the risks. Strategic thinkers know this, so they use frameworks or simple structures to catch their own biases and make better decisions. Let me show you 3 powerful frameworks. First is first principles thinking. Instead of accepting how things are usually done, break problems down to basic truths. Ask these questions. What do we know is absolutely true? What are we just assuming? Build your solution from the ground up, not from tradition. Second is inversion. Instead of asking, how do I succeed, ask, how do I guarantee failure? List all the ways you could fail, then avoid those things. This reveals risks you might not see otherwise. Third is the two-way door test. Some decisions are reversible. You can change them. Some aren't. For reversible decisions, move fast. You can always change course. For decisions you can't reverse, take more time and gather more input. For example, before making a big investment, ask yourself, if I do the opposite, what's the worst thing that could happen? This helps you see the risks clearly, prepare a backup plan, and make a smarter choice. So, for your next big decision, use inversion. Write this question down. How could this definitely fail? Then design your plan to avoid those failures. This simple exercise can save you from huge mistakes. Principle 12. Resilience and continuous learning. Finally, let's talk about the mindset that holds everything together. The commitment to keep learning and growing. Every strategy will face setbacks. Every plan will hit obstacles. That's not failure. That's reality. What separates strategic thinkers from everyone else? They bounce back faster. They learn from mistakes instead of being crushed by them. This is called resilience, the ability to recover quickly. and it's built through continuous learning. Here's how strategic thinkers approach failure. When something doesn't work, you don't blame or hide. You must ask, what can I learn from this? To figure this out, you have to do a review after a project. This means sitting down and asking 3 specific questions. What worked well? What didn't work? What will we do differently next time? You write down the lessons and share them with your team. You build a culture where learning matters more than being perfect. Here's another key practice. Keep a decision journal. Before you make an important decision, write down what you decided and why. Include what you expect to happen. Then, 3 or 6 months later, review it. Were you right? Were you wrong? What did you miss? This creates a feedback loop, a cycle where you learn from results. You get better at decision-making because you actually examine your track record. One more thing. Build your support network. Strategic thinking isn't done alone. Find mentors who've walked the path before you. Join communities of people working on similar goals. Read books and learn from experts. Your ability to think strategically grows when you learn from others. You don't have to figure everything out yourself. Your final action step is this. Commit to learning something new every week. It could be a concept, a skill, or a lesson from a mistake. Keep a simple journal. 1 page per week with this title. This week, I learned. Over time, you'll build a massive knowledge base, and your strategic thinking will get sharper and sharper. Remember this. Strategic thinking is a practice, not a destination. You never arrive. You just keep getting better. Every decision is practice. Every mistake is data. Every success is proof that you're growing. Stay resilient. Stay curious. Keep learning. That's how you build strategic thinking that lasts. So let's bring this all together. We started with a simple question. What separates people who feel stuck from people who keep moving forward? The answer isn't talent. It isn't luck. It's how they think. Strategic thinking is the skill that changes everything. It's thinking with a clear goal, a plan, and a future view. It's the key difference between working harder and working smarter. We explored 12 core principles. That's a lot, I know. But here's what you need to understand. You don't need to master all 12 principles today. You just need to start with one. Pick the principle that resonated most with you. Maybe it's the strategic pause. Maybe it's the 80-20 rule. Whatever it is, practice it this week. Use it in small decisions. When you choose what to work on first, when you respond to a difficult email, or when you plan your next project. Strategic thinking isn't something you learn once and you're done. It's a practice. It's a muscle you build over time. Every decision is an opportunity to practice. Every mistake is a chance to learn. Every success proves you're getting better. So here's my challenge to you. Choose one principle. Apply it today. Notice what changes. Then next week, add another principle. Keep building. Keep practicing. You already have everything you need to start. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Share this with a friend who needs it. Don't forget to check out the other videos on our channel. There's a lot more good stuff waiting for you. Thank you for listening. Now go out there and think strategically. I'll see you in the next episode.